Hello there, Apple Bites. This is your Apple Bite, written Ralph, talking to you straight from our show here, Apple Bites, where we take a bite out of the apple and we share it with you. That's right, folks. It is time to get fun, get geeky, talk comics, and a bunch of plethora of other things that we're going to do today. And of course, we have Bob from Royal Collectibles to give us his expertise on certain things.
How are you guys?
How you doing, man?
Good.
It's always a pleasure. It's so weird for me, like, 'cause I think it's gotten to the point now where I see you for the special events.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah, Free Comic Book Day was a blast. Yeah. I had to leave, but it was a nice start, and I saw all the video that you guys took. We really appreciate it. It really highlights the store. Does a good job.
Dude, it was amazing. Your line did not end till like 4:00.
I know.
And you guys had to dip into your free comic book books from beyond.
Yeah, we actually had old ones that we started bringing up.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. You know, like from years ago that we get in collections. We just keep stacking them on the side, to give away to kids and stuff like that. But we had ones from like 2012 and they're gone.
Ooh. It's like from Miracle on 34th Street. Like they took all the Santa letters, right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Dude, it was just like the energy on it, and on top of that, it wasn't like like I've seen some years where people come in and get their books and leave. The people were buying
it was very weird this year. That's what we were all talking about that. How like it was a lot of people, and a lot of people hung around in a good way.
Yeah.
Shopping, talking, and but at the same time, it didn't get overbearing. It didn't get, like nobody was rushing. Nobody was like, we've had, arguments start on Free Comic Book Day, like about being, like stupid stuff. And it was just like everybody was in a good mood. I came back later in the day. I was there to set up and when the store opened. And when I came back later in the day, usually like the staff, they're a little defeated. It's been a long,
Oh no, they were in high spirits.
Yeah, they were all like just yap. I was like, oh wow, this is nice,
Paul, when you went to your store, how was it?
I got there a little late. I mean, the store opened up at like 10, and from what I understood, the line was coming out the door. But it was a good throng of people there when I got there, and I was handing out Kickstarter promotions. But like Bob said, I mean, it's a good time. People just hang out. I mean, where I go to Free Comic Book Day, it's beneath the Kubert School. It's Dewey's Comic City,
right?
And they have artists there who are actually drawing free sketches for people who come to Free Comic Book Day. So it's really cool. And they got some big name artists. I mean, they had Fernando Ruiz. He was there this year. He's actually a teacher at the school, but they've had other artists like V. Ken Marion and Lee Weeks, because they all live in the area, and so they kind of offer their services when they do Free Comics Day. Sometimes it's kind of cool.
We had.
Go ahead, Bob.
Oh, I'm sorry. We had Ivan Cohen. He wrote the Batman Lego book here, and we do the Makers Fair, which we invite like local creators who make stuff, art and made items. And when they set up, we have a tent in the parking lot. We clear it out, set it all up like a little fair, and it was nice to hear the positive results those people had.
Yeah.
Like it didn't take away from our store at all, and vice versa. Like it didn't take away from them. They were all like satisfied with what went down. And we the past few years post pandemic, we toned it down a bit.
Right.
And now we're talking about bringing it back the way we used to, like get face painters, get a food truck here. Like that.
I think, it's one thing to get a free comic book, but it's a big surprise when you see something else like that happening.
Yeah.
And people really appreciate it. It's a celebration. It's fun. I mean, how many other times do you have that really over the course of the year, and, people come together and just have a good time? It's great.
That's what I was about to say, Bob, because when we go to Royal Collectibles, it doesn't just feel like it's Free Comic Book Day. It feels like there's a whole other thing happening. And you guys are taking care of the community. You guys are doing the makers event in the back. It doesn't just feel like it's Free Comic Book Day,
Yeah, like we're big on community. We always have been, but this community, and by community I mean like not just our local people, the comic book community was always here for us. So it's like it's a good payback if we could find a way to help the community. We have the Forest Hills itself does a community day. We always participate. They do blood drives across the street. We try to get involved with that.
Love that.
And anything that involves, I got two. We're having a field day. A field trip is coming to the school. A school's field trip.
I love that.
And then I've been asked to be a guest at a comic book club at a junior high school.
Oh, even better.
And I was like over the moon about that. Like, that's great. So I got those two things coming up, and I'm like really looking forward to it. It's fun. The comic book community, I feel, is very unique in that like it's so diverse and so welcoming.
But I feel like it's one of the things that comic stores need to do is they need, you can't be what we used to be, which is like, oh, it's a comic store, and then they didn't care about anything else.
Right. We try to diversify as much as we can with what we carry,
mm-hmm.
and that helps a lot. Different things bring in different people bring in other different people, and like word spreads. So someone stops in and they just ask if we have a magnet. Yeah, we have magnets. Right there for your fridge. If we have keychains, we're lucky we're on a corner.
Yeah.
So sometimes people think it's just like a corner store. They just wander in. They're like,
oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, it's very weird. It happens more often than you would think. Where somebody comes in like, do you have like crazy glue? It's like, no, sorry. It's like, okay. What is this place? And then they're like, oh, I'll come back with my cousin. He's into this stuff. I'll come back with my son.
I see AZ has joined us. I hear your bad weather over there.
Oh yeah. We've got the lovely underground internet cables. So when we get beautiful rain, it decides to slap us on the hand and kick us off the internet from time to time. So
all right, I wanted to let the people know just in case you disappear. And what happened? No, he'll be back.
Yeah. But yeah.
Right now we're talking about the local comic book store. And wait, do they do free comic book day in Australia?
I think some people take a part of it. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a case by case situation.
Right.
But like a lot of things, we sort of adopt them over time. Like Halloween is sort of a thing that we're adopting more and more each year over here, and okay. I've got, as we've got more Americans migrating across, we've got people stopping for Thanksgiving and things like that. So there are American traditions that do bleed in over time.
The Thanksgiving one bugs me out.
That's
yeah.
You know what? I'm just like, hey, you do you, man. That's whatever's happening. That's cool. I mean, it's another excuse to sit down and eat absolutely delicious food. So I'm not going to knock it.
I will take that excuse.
Yeah.
Food, more food. Give me the food.
I think that's what most Australian sort of celebrations boil down to, really, is food. So it's like, oh, what's Christmas to us? It's a really big meal, and then we give each other some gifts, and we all go to sleep.
Oh, that's the same.
Do you guys have turkeys in Australia?
Do we have? We do. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, we have farm turkeys, but we also have dinosaur turkeys. So, like, we've got we've got cassowaries, which are these giant turkeys with these huge big bones on the top of their head and giant big claws, and they live in our suburbs. Just like dinosaurs are just outside our doors, just nesting in our yards. That's just kind of how it goes.
So they could kill you then? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, look, if you're wearing the wrong gang colors, you brought it on yourself.
I deal with that already. I don't need to deal with
if you're wearing anti-cassowary colors and you look at them the wrong way. No, I mean, but like legitimately, cassowaries. I mean, if you walk up to them, they can stand almost as tall as a fully grown person in some cases. So. They're not quite as emu-like. They're not quite like, the ostrich to emu size. They're more like the Wolverine squatty, nuggetier version that's like half the height. But yeah, like sometimes you'll just sort of go out into your yard and you'll see, like, in other countries, they see a big pile of leaves and they go, oh, yay, look, someone's been raking. In our country, we see a big pile of leaves and we're like, all right, that side of the yard belongs to someone else now. We don't go there.
That's great.
I learned a lot about Australian birds from the Wiggles.
Yep.
And my daughter watching it, and I was fascinated with the bin chicken.
Bin chickens are like, you know what? It's like it's great though. It's like I think the bin chicken represents Australia more than, you know, like we've got the emu on our coat of arms, but the bin chicken is really in our hearts. It's like I think the best one I ever saw of a bin chicken was like in the middle of the city. There's this, you know, beautiful park that people come down out of their office buildings and they'll just lay down in the park and get some sunlight between their zombie shifts inside the building. And the bin chickens will just sort of wander around, do their bin chickeny thing. But I saw one of them just go over to someone who was laying on the park, sleeping in the sun, and just shove their huge beak down their mouth into their throat to check and see if there was any food in there. Wow. It was the most... like, I think we all freaked out for them, but like it took them a while to process.
I can't imagine the dream that guy was having. That's all I got to say.
I mean, those beaks are long. Like, it went right.
Oh, what is this? A tonsil?
Yeah. Oh, nice! I got that little punching bag. Yeah, we got that. That's mine now.
Can't hear you, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry, somebody was talking to me. That says a lot.
That's all good. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
man.
it's bin chickens are pretty hectic. I think the most notorious ones though are magpies. They're the most notorious birds. They're very they basically look like they're sort of similar family shape to like what I guess you guys would have as crows and things like that. They sort of look very similar to the corvid family, but they've got like a lot of white patches all over them, and they are like if you ever hear like when like I hear them all the time when any time that an American film studio wants something to sound like it's like a foreign place with dinosaurs or stuff like that, they'll put these like magpies kind of in the background. I'm like, that's a magpie, not a dinosaur. But it's basically this great bird that like sounds beautiful, sounds amazing, but then the moment that they start nesting, they turn into like these kamikaze dive bombers that like will stick their beak into anything that is near their nest, and they'll just fly down and smack them as hard as they can. And a lot of the time they'll knock themselves out or really badly injure themselves. So they will draw a huge amount of blood on people. And so, yeah, like they're the ones that like, you know, we've got these tall birds that could rip you open. We've got, you know, all these different sort of violent birds, but like those ones are the ones that like will chase you down if you're on a bike or anything. So we sort of, but the little trick that a lot of people see is if they see them in the neighborhood, you know, before it gets to breeding season, you just sort of deliberately try to start feeding them. So it's like kind of bribing them into friendship. It's like, please, when you see me, don't attack me. I'm your friend, I swear. And so it's and again, it is another mob situation. So it's like we're paying off the guys for protection. So that we can take our morning, you know, mental health walk without getting assaulted. So yeah, that's pretty much Australian wildlife. It's really just like this trade-off of, you know, let me bribe you with something. Please don't like destroy me.
Well, I want to go down the rabbit hole a little bit more about international wildlife. Do you guys have pigeons?
Yeah. I mean, the sky rats are everywhere, aren't they?
I've never been to Australia, so I'm trying to get a good semblance of, you know, exactly what I'm in store for when I do go someday. So.
Yeah, we have these. I actually, the only broken bone I ever had is because of a breed of pigeon. So yeah, like I was riding down a road on a push bike, going down this hill, trying to pick up as much speed as I could because, you know, that's fun. And I got hit in the head by our native pigeon, and it took me out and split my elbow like in half. And that was still to this day, it's like, you know, if I say the first part of the story, yeah, man, I was riding a bike, came off, broke my elbow. They're like, oh, cool, man, motorcycle accident. I'm like, no, actually, I was riding a push bike way too fast and got hit in the face with a pigeon. It's like the less fascinating version of like, you know, Fabio being hit in the face with a swan. It's like, but I think I'm not a Fabio, so I only get delegated pigeon because I'm a pigeon face. So it's
Pigeon face. That should be your new character, Pigeon face.
I'm sorry. One last stupid question before we break off of Australian wildlife. Are seagulls as stupid as I saw in Finding Nemo?
Oh,
yeah, that's absolutely seagulls here. That's actually probably the most accurate description of seagulls that I think they've managed to capture. Seagulls will, like, you know, we've got all these beautiful beaches with beautiful cafes, and you can just sit down there and, you know, like, enjoy a nice meal. But, you know, again, like I was saying, you got to bribe everything with food and, for, you know, like, promise of friendship. Otherwise, they will just gang up on you and take everything that you own. And so the amount of videos that are out there, like, anyone who's just sort of being like, oh, he's being too over the top, just go and Google, YouTube, whatever you need to do, videos of people just having their entire lunches stolen by seagulls. And, like, small children will be like, yay, I got an ice cream. And then there's a bird sitting in it, like, a split second later. And, you know, someone's eating a burger and they're like, yeah. And then the seagulls just swarm on the burger. It's like, it's ours now. And, it's, like, I think Finding Nemo actually
did a good job.
A pretty tame version. They kind of like, because, like, they do just sort of have this whole mine mentality, and then they just attack.
Oh man, I gotta say that's just, like, it's good to know that Nemo got something.
Finding Nemo, like, that's that they actually, that's one of the ones that they got pretty damn close. And I think even Bruce the shark, I think they had a really funny take on Bruce, because you know, there is this kind of love-hate relationship where we're like, we know they're kind of like giant big puppy dogs, but they're giant big puppy dogs that, you know, test us with their teeth and can rip us to pieces. And it's like, so the whole, like, fish are friends, not food. And it's like, well, that's what we're trying to sort of constantly be told. It's like, you know, sharks are not, you know, sharks are friendly. That's okay. So it's sort of a take on the way that we get told to reprogram how we see sharks, because for a long time we had this whole, like, they're monsters of the deep and blah blah blah, and then it's like, all right, we killed too many of them, now we're swarming with jellyfish and all these other things that the predators kept in check. We've got to kind of reframe ourselves. So seeing Bruce the shark reframing himself was, I think, kind of a dig on how Australians have to reshape themselves about sharks. So there's a bit of a probably one that kind of goes over most people's heads, but you know, it is a funny little nod to, like, how we had to reprogram ourselves about sharks. And still, you won't catch me swimming with them. That is not something they're not a friend I'm looking to pay off with a chomp out of my leg. I'll give a chip to a seagull. I'm not giving a toe to a shark. That's just not what I'm doing.
We don't want to do that. Bob, I gotta say, like, speaking of dying out, a lot of comic book stores started to disappear, you know, and I thought it had stopped. I thought the comic stores had, like, reached a plateau, but they're still disappearing. You know, there was 2 or 3 the past couple of months that just closed down. How are you guys staying ahead of that? Because the more I go to your store, the more I see that sense that you're talking about with the community and the people coming in, and there's more to your store than meets the eye.
I think with us, it's from the beginning part of our store. I mean, I wasn't here from the very beginning. You know, my boss was my brother-in-law. Mm-hmm. I think what it is we constantly had to shift on our feet to stay afloat.
Right.
So there's always something new. Whatever, like, comics dip, something picks up. You know, or there's a trend that, like, you got to hop on. You know, some of them last, you know, like, say, like, Funko Pops, you know, like, a lot of stores just outright refuse to carry them, get involved with them at all.
I've seen that.
You know, we got involved early. I don't like them at all. I wish they weren't in the store. I mean, I'm glad people like them. I'm glad we sell them. They're not my thing. But it became so successful. How do you not? You know, so, like, that's the thing I think we do that benefits us, and we learn that. And with the last wave, when Diamond collapsed, and there were different distributors,
right?
A lot of smaller companies went direct, meaning, like, if you want, Chaos is the biggest one probably,
right?
You know, Lady Death, Evil Ernie stuff. If you want those comics in a comic book store, you have to buy them directly from Chaos. Like, there's no middleman.
Like it kind of got rid of the middleman. Yeah.
Right. And then, it split. DC went to Lunar. Then everything started to drift to Penguin and back and forth. So if you couldn't adapt to that, that's where you started having trouble. And I think that's where we were so used to adapting to things.
Right.
It was just adapting to a new thing.
So yeah, it was a more like, oh, this is the status quo. This is what we do anyway. We're just moving on and evolving. Yeah.
Yeah. My wife, she hunted down, got a whole new system for the store, a new point of sale that we're able to. They're building it up. Comic Shop Assistant. It just came out a few years ago. They're slowly building it up. It's now got a front-facing portal, so customers can manipulate their own pull lists and requests. Bringing that in enabled us to work with multiple distributors, whereas previously with Diamond, there was one distributor, one system. So now without Diamond, Diamond was linked to that system.
Right.
So without Diamond, that system was kind of useless. So we had to get a whole new system, but find one that was capable of supporting our needs. And we found a great one, and it's working great.
So yeah, and again, I feel like most stores, I think they wait till the possible last minute to do things, because I've seen a couple of stores now with Diamond falling apart where they still haven't moved into the next thing, and they're kind of stuck in this limbo.
Yeah, I think it was a case of I don't think it's going to happen. Everything's going to go back to normal kind of mentality, and it didn't.
Yeah. It did not at all.
It didn't. And opening up an account with any retailer is hard. It's not an easy process. You don't just call up and get an account with Penguin. You don't just call up and get an account with Lunar.
Right.
There's a lot of paperwork involved. There's a lot of back and forth. And if you're not prepared to do that, it's like going to the DMV. Some people could go get the right forms, get everything done, and get out. And some people are just like, I don't know why I'm here or what I'm doing. So if you were in that category where you were just like, well, I'm not going to try to move forward, you're gonna fall behind.
Right.
And you gotta have the right people with you. If you can't do it,
you have to have a good team.
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple of these comic stores where they don't really have a team. Either it's the owner by himself. I mean, he might have some workers, but they're just workers.
Right. We try. I mean, we are a family business, so a lot of it's family, but it's family that are fans as well.
Right.
So we each have our own specialty, I would say, and that lets us split our focus more. Whereas I know there's places that they hire. I'm trying not to say derogatory, but they hire anyone. Meaning, if the person just here's my resume, they don't even like comics. They don't.
Right.
They just need a job, which is fine. But like in that, you're not going to get that personal.
Exactly.
It's the same as I'll use Home Depot as an example. You could go to a plumbing supply place, tell the guy behind the counter, hey, I want this and this, and you'll get it.
Yeah.
Or you could go to Home Depot and ask 5 different people, and they'll be like, plumbing is out.
I think the other guy knows this. I think yeah. I've seen that.
I think that has a lot to do, like, if you're hiring fans, if you're hiring somebody who's excited to be here and work, it helps your company way more than hiring someone who is.
So it's like another offline conversation. So, Bob, do you see, in terms of you guys do different events like game trading and card trading, stuff like that? Do you do like Magic and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, we have a separate store. This used to be your standard, 1980s to 90s baseball card comic store, and an opportunity came up on the block to split the stores. That's when I actually started working here. So all the sports and entertainment stuff went to the other store, and the comics and like sci-fi statue toy stuff stayed here. What happened over there was that evolved.
Yeah.
And the gaming companies were, you know, like if somebody distributed baseball cards, they distributed Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh and all the other cards. So it was naturally linked there. They had a bigger open basement where you could play. So that became its own entity. We're still related, we're still partners with them and stuff, but it's so specified.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because we'll get phone calls and they'll be like, "Do you have blah 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 blah?" I was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
And it's so interesting.
And it's just like once I get into it with the customer, it's like, oh, you call back and press the button for the card, please, and vice versa. Like, you know, like one of their employees would like run over and be like, "Is there something called?" You know, and I'm like, yeah, it came out today. He's like, "Oh, all right." Somebody keeps calling.
It's so funny because it's two totally different stores.
Yeah.
Like even the feeling in the stores is completely different.
Yeah. And the same thing, they hire specialty guys too.
Yeah.
You know, like most of those guys you see behind the counter were once kids collecting. I was a customer here.
It's
for years. But yeah, we do a lot of events there in terms of gaming and card playing and stuff like that. I don't know the specifics. If you check out Royal Sports NYC on Instagram, that's when they have like the you know, the box breaking, the releases. You know, and they have stuff lined up around the block for stuff. Some people are here overnight.
You want to say something, Izzy?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, like, if I can take a second to geek out on what you're sort of what you're describing. One of the, like, so for people who are just sort of meeting me for the first time, I'm a psychology geek who's gone down into studying that kind of stuff, and one of the little side treks I made just for an elective was consumer psychology, because I thought that'd be really relevant to like what we're doing. And one of the things that I like that you're sort of doing here is you're implementing. It's easiest way to sort of describe it is if you're providing something, you're solving a problem. That's the easiest way to think about it. If I take all of the technicality and boil it down. A consumer has a problem, and your job is to fix the problem. If you sort of boil it down to that, most of these things can be adapted to really quickly, which is kind of what you're doing. Like, so for instance, like people have their problem is usually I want to be entertained or I want to be involved in my community, which usually involves somewhat being able to keep up with friends and cliques and things like that. And your solution is you are adapting to be like, I'll be the fixer of that problem. You want to still keep up with your friends. You want to still be involved with that. I'm going to be the person who shifts and changes what we have here so that you can keep up with your friends and be involved with those cliques as they evolve. And because every age group as they grow up has a different thing. Like I had Voltron, the next generation had Power Rangers, and then it's like, so you have to be able to kind of be like, all right, well, we're going to get on board with Power Rangers when they come up, and then sort of shift and evolve. And so, like it's really, I personally geek out and find it really cool to see how like different corners kind of manage to juggle that, because the problems are always different for every single industry. And for ours, it's a really niche one because it's entertainment, but it's a media, physical entertainment. And I think people want that. They want to be able to have something that they can treasure. And, like another part you were sort of mentioning there was community is a big part of it. And so, you guys having that sort of branching sort of relationship with like card gaming and gaming connections and stuff like that. Like it makes sense and it's smart. And I noticed like the comic book stores around here that really, really struggled. There was one of my favorite ones was an indie comic store that basically the way that they had it was like all the indie stuff was on prime shelves and any of the corporate stuff was relegated into twine string bundles and put on the floor.
Oh, wow.
And I would walk in there and you could buy a stack of Flash comics for like $5. They were worth nothing in that store. Like everyone's just like, man, no one cares. Buy that. I don't care. And then meanwhile, someone would make a little zine that's like a folded piece of paper with like doodles on it it's literally the one of a kind in pen, not even a print. Someone just walked in and went, pop this on the wall, and that's got prime position. And I love the way they flipped it. But as we know, that doesn't survive long because it doesn't have like you're saying with the Funko Pop appeal. Like there needs to be a dissolving of that. There can't be a barrier between entry. Like there has to be like a point where people can just like, there's no barrier. And like, I think a lot of people put that barrier up where it's like, okay, like we want this exclusivity. We want to have this really sort of in, prestige about it. But at a certain point, you got to understand, like, if you put too much of a barrier of entry, then people can't come in and discover everything else as well. So you got to.
That's what I like about the way we're set up. I grew up, we didn't have a lot of money. We were kind of poor. Any little thing we went to get, like when I was a kid, like saving milk money, whatever, taking cans back to the store, things like that to save money to get comics. You don't forget that. And when I would come here when I was a kid and other comic stores, the ones that treated you nice, the ones that like you remember forever, you go back. And I like being able to do that to people.
Absolutely.
Like and being an influence where it's like, listen, you're cool here. It's nice here. Come back.
Yeah.
I have a problem, and I've been, whenever me and my wife go out of state or someplace, like we tend to find a comic book store, check it out, see if we can get any ideas, and I don't like snobby shops.
Oh, I would 100% agree, but I think that's also like a part of the Australian blood. Like we very much have like, I mean, we sort of like, there's that whole group joke that like we kind of are a colony of criminals. So like, we have this sort of attitude of like that sort of aristocracy sort of mentality doesn't really blend well with the majority. Like we sort of do need to have this in our country. It's good and it's bad. Like we have a thing called tall poppy syndrome, where like if someone starts getting a little too like rising above everybody else and getting on their high horse, the general community will sort of cut them down and pull them down, pop them down a bit. But that's a terrible thing as well, because like that's one of the reasons like I find people can succeed more in America, because everyone will prop them up, and that's a fantastic thing as well. So like culturally, we sort of very much have this person's snobby. We're not going to give them any attention. But on the other hand, it does get the counterpoint of that is it is a lot harder to get your accolades and get yourself succeeding in a place like Australia, where that is a cultural norm.
I can see that. Like here, we try to do both. We have, like I said, very high-end books, and that's the boss, Mike. That's what he's been doing for years, buying collections, sorting it through, CGC grading the high-end books, and he'll deal with that clientele with no problem. At the same time, he'll give away $1 book to a kid who doesn't have any money, who came in that day. And it was like, it goes to pay, and he's like, I only have like 60 cents. It's like, don't worry about it. So like we try. We all know how hard it is. We've all had hard times and stuff like that, and you don't want to be the source of somebody else's hard time.
Absolutely, and I think that sort of comes to that whole mateship thing that I think like I would agree with a lot. I think like having a place where people can come and get rid of stress and immerse themselves into some like community is so important. And I don't know how it is with you guys over there at the moment, but I know like a lot of our comic corners are just vanishing now. And with that is also like there's that like we had one guy in my city who everyone literally called the comic book guy, because he was like a spitting image of the Simpsons comic book guy, and he ran a comic book store. And it was just beautiful to be like, that's an icon of our city. Go see the literal comic book guy. And just things like that are just missing, where like we don't have those touchstones anymore, and they are sort of evolving. Like the kids who grew up with comic books and arcade games are now trying to open up like burger joints with comics and cocktail bars with arcade games, but they're not, like you're saying, it needs to be accessible, and it's not an accessible point for the youth to kind of be able to just walk in and be like, I have 60 cents, what can I do? And it's like, no man, this is a feature point of the place, I can't sell it to you. And it's like, well, that sucks, because I used to just get a small comic and stare at it. Like I would just look at this thing and be like, study the art and look at the way it's all worded and just like have some imagination going. It was great. Like I love those sort of the ability to be able to immerse myself in that stuff on my own time. And so yeah, I can see people trying to adapt, at least in my city, but it's taking away that point you're talking about, which is accessibility.
Yeah.
And
we end up usually, it's something I try to regulate here, is we'll end up with like Michael buy a collection, and like there'll be some really old like books that they're fun, or we'll have multiple books. He bought a collection and there's 50 copies of something that's not worth anything, and it's not worth giving, the bagging and boarding of the whole process here. So we keep a stack behind the counter, and there's always a kid it's their first time here. They came in with their dad, their grandma, or something. They love the place, and their grandma, their grandpa, their dad, mom, just trying to rush them out, get them home. And it's just like, no, we'll get something next time. You give that kid a comic, and it just made their week, and they'll never forget you. Like that's how it was when I was a kid. Before my brother-in-law was part of this business, it was his partner who runs a sports store, Chuck. Death of Superman era, the trade paperback just came out, and I took a bus here to get it, and I came in, and it was already sold out, right? So I asked if they had it, and they had it, and it was a cover price of $4.95, right? And I brought $5 with me because I knew that. And Chuck was like, all right, it's like $10. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, the prices went up. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I'll come back another time. And I was walking away, and he's like, hey, kid, and he can call me back. He's like, yeah, just take it. Don't worry about it. And he took the $5, And he was like, he didn't have to do that.
No. That's what makes you guys. That's what makes you guys so excellent. The whole idea. Because that's how comic stores used to be. I've gotten a book or two free from the comic book store owner because I would buy a bunch of books, or I was just in there when because you would go to hang out at the comic book store, and you didn't have any money, and
I've been there.
Because I've gone to the comic store without money a couple times.
Well, I think like.
Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry, Paul. You get Paul.
Yeah, especially for the entry port. Buying an Absolute Batman now is what, $5. I mean, when I was a kid, it was 20 cents.
Yeah.
It's like no thinking about it. You just did it. But now $5 is like, okay, what am I buying here? Do I really want to buy it? Find something else might be better. So it's a big scrutiny now.
Yeah, absolutely. And like when I was like I'm a wonderfully late stage adult diagnosed ADHD person. So I look back. Yeah, I think so many of us are, man. Like I was just gonna say, like comic book stores were one of the, there were places that I look back on now and I realize they were forests of dopamine.
Yeah.
And like, so for me, like as an undiagnosed kid, when I felt dysregulated or when the world felt like there was just too much stuff happening, I could walk into this forest of dopamine, beautiful colors, amazing art, amazing action, and cool people that were just hanging around. And a lot of them I was like, wow, I vibe. And sort of like, you vibe with your tribe because most of you are all there getting dopamine out of it the same way. And like, I do remember there was sort of like, there were the packed things, but there are also like, some sample shelves where it was like, okay, this is where the kids can go and like put their grubby mitts on this stuff, and you can kind of leaf through it and be like, wow, and it was enough for me to be like, okay, cool, I'm coming in. And a lot of the time, because like you're a broke kid as well, it wasn't like a lot of like, it's kind of like more hunting down your favorite book because it's a dopamine investment, and so. At least for me it was. And so a lot of the time I'd come back and I'd look at it 3 or 4 times and be like, wow, I always get like a really good, like I feel really good after I look at this book. Yeah. And so like eventually you'd save up the scratch and you'd sort of come in and be like, here it is, push, pop the coins down, and you grab that thing, you take it home and be like, all right, anytime I need to just breathe mentally, I can pick this book up off the shelf and just flick through it and be like, oh, that's great. And it's not quite the same because you're not immersed in a forest of dopamine, but it is like looking at a nice garden. And it's like someone sort of put it really beautifully the other day. It was from the book community, and they were like laughing at how they'd collect these oceans of books and never read half of them. And the whole like everyone was like, oh man, I really need to do that. But like someone pointed out, it's like actually this is a really good dopamine regulation thing, because you always have this understanding that at any point you can go to your forest that you've been collecting and growing, and you've got something new you can put your hands on when you need it in an emergency. It's not particularly like I always have to have read everything. It's like, no, this is your forest that you can walk in when you have to, when you need a mental health break, when you need to check out. You constantly throw seeds in there. You're constantly growing flowers and scattering more books into the garden, because one day you're going to need it. And I was like, that's all the excuse I needed to keep buying books without reading them. So, okay, I'll take it.
I have a long-standing rule at the store. It's just mine. It's one of those things, like you're not supposed to read comics or books in the store.
Right.
And I'm fine with that unless you're a kid.
Right.
If some kid wants to hunker down here and read while he's waiting for his parent to pick him up because it might not be too safe for him outside, or he just wants to alone, like you say, get that fix. I had this one kid, he would come in and he would grab a book and he'd sit on the floor. And I told him, I was like, hey, listen, you can read all you want. Just don't sit right in front of the new books. Just so customers could get to them.
Yeah.
And he said, okay. And I went behind the counter and now I don't see the kid. And I'm like, oh man, I hope I didn't offend him in some way. And I'm walking around and he was under a table.
Oh man.
And I put my head under the table and I was like, all right, you can find a happy medium here,
He was out of the way.
Yeah. I was like, but he's still now. He was a tiny little kid, and now I think he's almost 20, and he still comes in.
Wow.
And he sprouted up. He was like this little, you could see it now. He's like a big dude, and he talks. He's not shy anymore. He came out of his shell. But it's like you see that happen. You see that if you're in the business long enough, you see the effect you have on people.
Yeah, and that's a life story for him too. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm sure he tells it. Yeah, he's a really cool kid. The other thing, kids don't understand tax.
Yeah,
and I don't think they should have to.
I agree.
So I let that slide a lot. It's so we have a slush fund. I'll throw in but it's like it's one of those things. It's like it's hard. But any adult who comes in and is just like, oh, what do you mean there's tax? It's like, well, you live in the world.
You're an adult.
You wander into pizzerias and Kmart and stuff like that and say the same thing. This is a store. We collect tax like everybody else. A 9-year-old boy who got $3 from grandma, and he's getting a $2.99 book, and it comes to $3.24, and that look of sadness that comes over their face, where they're like, I only have $3.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I can explain commerce and justify it to that kid. It's like, the $3 is fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
There's certain things that I don't understand why they have tax. It doesn't make any sense.
The comic book industry is very strange. New books are periodicals.
Right.
So if it's out this week, it's a periodical as a newspaper is or a magazine.
Right.
There's no tax.
There's no tax.
Right.
As soon as you bag and board it and put it in the back, it is now a collectible.
That's because it's a product now. It's not a newspaper. It's not a periodical.
So it's it's very weird.
Okay, my inner Australian. I'm sure. Okay, I'm not representing my country well right now, because I'm just sitting there looking at this, going what? Okay.
Damn taxes.
I don't run a comic book store, so this could quite possibly be something that they also have there as well, because we have we have our taxes obviously, but we have a goods and services tax 10% thing that just sort of gets added onto everything. So with that did have I remember a long time ago it did have a lot of variation, and then it just sort of crept into everything, and so now it's everywhere. I think a lot of people now just grow up with they just sort of roll it into the price now, where it's just this is there. But I've noticed they've started pulling it out of the price since we've started doing electronic. So it used to just be rolled into the main price tag for a while there because we did cash, and now that we're all electronic, you'll sort of see they'll be like, oh no, it's this much, and then you go to pay, and it's like plus service fees, plus GST, and plus this and plus that, and it's all on the back end after you've swiped the card, and you're like, oh, okay. So I guess it does happen. It's just out of sight, out of mind. A little bit, people.
We do have we get a lot of tourists and foreigners in. We aren't like we're near 2 airports.
Yeah.
So like if you are staying in Queens and you Google for comic shops, we're very close to both airports and a lot of hotels. So we do get a lot, and like it's something they always like. Some of them start to understand, and a lot of them think like we're ripping them off. You know, it's like, oh no, it's it's priced on the cover $14.99. You know, you bring it to the counter, there's a little bit of tax. It's like whoa, but it says $14.99. What are you trying to do here?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's you know, and then they get it. Most of the time, it's not a problem, but it is something that's not universally known.
Yeah,
it's a bit like to sort of. Like it's getting a bit more like that here. Like I was saying, things sort of bleed into here, but we've got. I know in a lot of the colony countries, generally speaking, they would just sort of slap the whole thing onto one label and just be like, "If you don't have this much, too bad, get out." It's like, that's it. So there was sort of a So I know, like with a lot of the American structure, it's one of the ones that sort of does raise questions a bit because it is a totally separate thing. But again, like there's also differences between like England and Australia, New Zealand, you know, England, Canada. So even the colony countries, like, you know, we do have differences in ourselves as well. So like, you know, we might sort of be like initially like, huh? And then we'll just kind of be like, well, you know, we're weird too. So, you know,
we're weird too.
We have our own flavor of strange. So we're not going to like question it too much.
I gotta say, it's always interesting, and I had a feeling that if we went in the direction of talking about comic book stores and the industry, that we probably wouldn't get to the whole absolute stuff of it. But I didn't mind because I figure I can get Bob to come back and we can talk absolute.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm a DC guy. I like everything, but I evolved to really enjoy what DC does with their characters.
Yeah.
And the Absolute Universe was when they first were talking about it. I was like, like it's just another Elseworlds. And then the way it was story driven, the whole concept of it really hooked me. And I could see why it's doing so well. But like, yeah, I'd love to do we could do a whole show.
Oh, definitely. We are having Bob back, and we're gonna do a whole Absolute show. I had a whole panel ready, but things happened. People couldn't show up. But we're gonna put it all back together. I'm gonna go all Absolute, and we're gonna have a big Absolute discussion.
Absolutely.
That sounds absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. Right now, AZ, why don't you tell the people the beautiful stuff? Because I was just looking at this, and it looks beautiful. Look at this thing, folks. He's at 15,000.
It's I mean, it looks even more impressive in Australian dollars. I mean, honestly, like okay, what can I say? Punky is a retro arcade beat 'em up inspired comic. I kind of dreamt this little bad boy up when I was working for a couple of other studios, and they put the call out, you know, hey, you know, we're looking for new concepts. Feel free to come in and pitch your ideas, and you can make them with us. I did that. Originally, the first comic version of this was called Yo Jessica. It was a retro. Again, it was a cheeseball comic. The idea was it was meant to be very much a love letter to the 80s and the 90s. And then because studios don't want to double up on the same concepts all the time, they sort of had to kind of tweeze out a lot of the ideas because they're like, oh, we've already got this thing, or we've already got someone who looks a bit like that, or we've got someone who's this and this and this and that. And then by the time they'd sort of pulled it all apart, it really helped my brain to kind of just be like, all right, well, without that, what could it be? And then once that happened, I kind of had this divine inspiration slap me in the brain, and I went, oh, nope. I pulled the whole thing back, ran back off, and went, I have to write this, because like I couldn't. Firstly, the idea that I came up with was too bombastic and a little bit too off the wall for the studios that I was pitching to. And then I just realized, no, I got to take the risk myself if it's going to happen, and it's got to be something that has that just absolutely cornball cheesy action, way over the top of the 80s and 90s kind of movies era pop stuff, and then put it in the story. And so basically, this all does sort of linchpin onto a much bigger, more serious universe B plot that is running through all of the comics that I'm creating.
Right.
And the idea is that each of these characters are kind of encountering this big B plot in their own way and in their own kind of theme and vibe and flavor. Punky kind of gives us a flash of like what's happening when they encounter the B plot back in this retro era. And there's this big looming, like, to give you guys a bit of an insider scoop, you'll sort of notice this crystal keeps turning up throughout a lot of them. There is a theme running through all of the comics with this crystal. Whenever you see pink turning up inside the comics, any of them, something is happening in relation to the B plot. So for all of the readers who are little Easter egg hunters, go chase the pink throughout my books and you'll start figuring it out.
So this is not a drug-induced, type of.
I didn't say it's not, but
it's like, oh man, I just feel like doing some pink right now. That sounds good. Yeah.
Just have a little pink. It's like the yeah. So there's basically some real, like, I mean, I never thought we'd get so much support straight off the bat, because again, like, I've done a lot of work in other studios, but this is the first time being a creator and launching a crowdfund. And I guess sometimes when you're down inside that creative art troll pit, or inside the bullpen, you forget that people are watching and you forget that they see what you're doing. And then so suddenly turning around and being like, oh yeah, now I'm creating something. And there was this really amazing swell at the start that just sort of pushed us into, the front pages. We got to #1 on Kickstarter for a while there, which was just, I'm sitting there with my jaw on the floor going, what's happening? Like, I'm just, there's 37,000 other projects. How did I get here? And then, yeah, we got this, we are sort of like looking at the last 60 odd hours now of the campaign. With Kickstarter's recent policy shifts, we're still sort of sitting there in limbo going like, I mean, we might make it, we might not. I'm pretty sure we are inside their policy guidelines, but at the same time, they sort of randomly changed it to be like, oh no, we can absolutely knock you down just for like having censorship bars over anything.
Wow.
Or, if something looks a little too violent, we can kick your entire policy. And so, we are sort of looking at it going like, well, if we didn't make it, it was still a fun ride, and we'll still definitely pivot and relaunch somewhere because the interest is there. But I mean, obviously,
I didn't even think about all that. I forgot that they did all those new things recently and changed things up. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I know they like to like, well, this is the rule now. I'm like, but it wasn't the rule before.
It wasn't the rule when we set it up, and that's what's sort of that's the anxiety-inducing part. Initially, it was anxiety from really so much success that we didn't expect, and now we're anxiety that we might not make it over the finish line. But sort of like as you were saying earlier, Bob, like you've just got to kind of pivot, and so we're sort of looking at it as like, okay, well, they said that we can't have this, and this on the next campaign, so we won't, and then we'll just have to kind of put the stuff inside, Discord and stuff like that, so people can come across. And like, I guess the benefit to that is like, hey, like I don't like doing that because like that's a bit of a barrier to entry, but again, it is what it is. And so Discord does have like an age verification thing. So basically, hey, if people want to come across, put in your name, put in your age, you should enter. Then it'll sort of take you through the rules. It'll ask you to go check out the newsfeed first. You go comment on a bunch of stuff. Once you'll sort of notice in the top left hand, it'll sort of tick off a few things. It'll be like 1 of 1, 2 of 1, or 1 of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4. And once you've reached 4 of 4 things that you've ticked off, it'll then pop open the cover review page, and you can go have a look at the covers. And so if anyone from their editing group does come in, they'll have to be pretty ambitious and sort of chase through 5 different things to do before they get to see uncensored pages. We have some, because of the success, we've got Punky 2. The team's already jumping into Punky 2. We've also got Candy's Corner being created already, which absolutely does not meet their current guidelines. So we had to immediately rip off, like we had a whole bunch of preview pages at the bottom of this thing, and we just went, oh no, and we ripped them out straight away. I mean, and like we're just gonna have to pivot. Like, I mean, basically, Candy was originally, the idea was it was a magical streetwalker who basically had a fantasy pocket dimension inside the bricks outside a pub. And the idea was that she's about to make the deal of a lifetime, which will give her a pink crystal, which will grant her 1 wish. And so she's basically like, okay, I'm about to do this thing. And then the big bad enters in and goes, snatch, goes to take the crystal. They get into a fight. Someone she's recently helps her out. The crystal gets bound into her pocket dimension, so the guy can't take it. So the guy takes the entire pocket dimension. And so they have to go on a quest to find her pocket dimension and this crystal before this person figures out how to unbind it and makes a wish that could absolutely decimate the entire planet. And so imagine like Dragon Ball, but the bad guy has the Dragon Balls at the very start. And it's like he's trying to figure out how to summon them. And you're like, okay, crap, we got to get this back quickly. And like Mistress, who's one of the villains in this comic, Punky, on this current campaign, is someone who actually helps them out in the next one. So we start to see who's aligned with what's happening where. You know, this universe is intertangled, but it's not just good guys, bad guys. In fact, one of the B plots running through the entire thing is all of the world's superheroes are missing. So basically, you're left with the underdogs, the rejects, the villains, and the people just trying to get by. So it basically leaves you with this stuff. Oh, and you've got the world government stuff happening over the top, but that's not for a long time. And we're sticking with the fun stuff that people can relate to. Just to start. But like to get back to the point with Candy, we sort of pivoted. So like, you know, it's like, okay, Candy is, you know, there's a comedy club that she's now on the outside of. There is, you know, she is a performer who has a pocket dimension on the side of a comedy club. And it's like, all right, that gets through the censorships. It doesn't destroy the plot. When the people get the comics in their hand, they're still going to get the same story. Nothing has been lied about. But like you have to actually just sort of, there it is in the middle there. So, you know, that cover there that we've got in the middle will not be on the campaign. So, you know, one of the ways that people are doing it now is they're just doing snatch bars instead of like the entire covers. So you'll basically take like a vertical caption point and be like, hey, like here's a different name cover. Like, you know, we're using star covers and royal covers. So basically, hey, if people want to see the difference between a star cover and a royal cover, they've got to head over to the Discord and see it. This will impact profits, obviously, but at the same time, it's more important for us that we get the project out, that we get over a certain amount in general, so that we can keep the wheels moving, keep the artists paid, keep the lights on. As much as we'd love to be like making top tier profits and stuff, you know, it is a barrier to entry, so we do know it is going to stop certain people from just walking in and buying and grabbing on impulse. But that's the nature of the beast that we're working in. So, you know, we just got to kind of adapt and do the best we can.
Yeah.
After that, like the one
hitting now, because you're only 4 away from 300.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I mean, I honestly didn't expect. I think a lot of it has to do with the digital stuff as well.
Right.
Because again, it's sort of like I wanted to, like you're saying, like when the kids walk in the door and they're just like, I've got this much money, and it's like, well, what's the most I can give you? And so we have, we made sure the stretch goals were ridiculously loaded with heaps of swag that these people could grab, and stuff that isn't usually on there. So like having the entire comic book in lined format for people to color in as coloring in pages was like, just having it up there, like, because most people I think would probably try and sell that for like, $40-$50. But for us, it's like, well, no, like we're going to give that away. Like we're just going to say, like, it doesn't take much more effort for me to do that, because it's like, well, we've already got the line art. Like it's already there. I could give, I can just hand this over and be like, take this. It's just going to be transferred to you digitally. I don't have to pay to get it printed, but it's a huge value add to the person if they're interested. If they're not, then it's like, whatever. But if they're interested in just coloring in pages and being like, hey, I love this retro pop, I can put up Donnie and AZ's page next to me, and I can maybe train myself how to color like they do, or I can do it my own style and be like, what could it look like if I was that? And if I was doing my own version of my own colors on those lines. And to me, that was really important to me. Learning how to train to color comics was like having access to comic pages I could color. And I think it also creates that it's my version of, hey, just take it. Like, just take this. And, so we've got like all of the character reference pages are just being thrown to people. The backstories, like showing how pitchboards work in the background of comics, are just being thrown to people. Like showing people.
Sometimes you got to pay for some extra money to get, but you're kind of like, look, check it out. This is how you do it.
Well, I mean, yeah, because it's the first flagship out the gate. So we really looked at it and went, how firstly can we actually get attention? How can we sort of build that relationship,
right?
And community, and also like how can I do it in a way that's not going to completely tank me? Because if you do a lot of physical stuff, I mean, honestly, like I'm already sitting in a precarious situation because it turns out that holofoil is extremely low stock in Australia.
Oh, wow.
So where like I've sit there, at the start I was like, hey, I've got all these holofoil stuff, and I sourced a really good reputable place to get it from in US, and so that's all covered for Northern Planet distribution. And then our Southern Planet distribution, it just sort of fell through, and we're like, oh, okay, so currently every hour of the day I'm scrambling with all the contacts that I've made in Australia and going like, okay, if that doesn't happen, I mean, it is a free promise that was done, but like, again, anyone who's in the Southern half is about to get rare collectibles that are purely for this history moment. It's going to be like, okay, cool. You guys are going to get, obviously we'll have to pivot to metallic instead of holofoil, but also likely we will have to sweeten the pot a little bit with like, all right, this has happened unforeseeably, but we are sort of, we're about 90% sure we'll get over that line. There is someone from a sort of 5th or 6th studio that we've print house that we've checked with that is like, I think we're about to get a box. And so we're sort of like, I don't care how much it costs, just give me the goddamn box. So, a box of freaking holofoils, man. I overstretched myself. But this is something you just kind of learn about. It's the TV pen. It's the fun of the game. I never at one point thought, oh yeah, there'll be a shortage. It's like, it's just something that you kind of take for granted when you first kind of get involved in it. You're like, oh yeah, everyone's doing this thing, so it's a thing you do. And then I did the do, and now I got kicked in the teeth because I did the do without knowing enough about it.
But that's the whole thing when it comes to Kickstarter, when it comes to all this stuff. It's a learning curve. It's a huge learning curve, and sometimes even when you know what you're doing, sometimes you still get the learning curve.
Yeah, I mean that's it, and it's I did a ridiculous level of research at the beginning, and it was all like, aha, I figured it all out. Here's where all the chess pieces are going to go. And then they're like, oh yeah, by the way, this one just blew up, and that one just blew up, and I'm like, and much as Bob was sort of saying before, man, you're like, it's like just pivot, keep pivoting. That's all you can do. all the planning in the world is great, but you're just gonna you have to pivot.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're at the moment. We're just kind of, and I'm not alone in that. Like every indie studio that has something that's a bit more buxom is pivoting and doing the dance, and we're all just sort of trying to grab each other's hands and pull each other back up the wall.
There's a bunch of people worrying right now.
Oh yeah, man. And it's especially like, I mean, I'm worrying myself, and I've only just started. I mean, like I was going to say, the third comic, if you see that that picture you brought up before with the 3 covers, I'm more worried about that, to be honest. So we'll get that one back up there for a sec. But basically, it's called Trapdoor. It's my version of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I take all the stuff from my psychology classes and I've poured it into this. The idea is that this is, again, the pink gem has been involved. There is, without spoiling too much of the story, effectively our hero Tara is an insanely brilliant geneticist. We're sort of bringing in the Hulk sort of satire into this, but we're also bringing in some Yakuza-style elements. You get to see a lot more of the criminal underworld that's involved in the B-plot through all of these comics. And Tara is a part of that criminal underworld. She is the daughter of someone very influential. She creates something that can basically cause the pink crystal's energy to genetically enhance anyone. So we're thinking of it along the lines of Super Soldier kind of satire spin. But in this situation, her brother gets a hold of that formula and decides to use it to position himself. Now, this formula wasn't perfected. It was a, entry-level first test, but he gets a hold of it, spreads it across the planet, and sets off a lot of these B-plots that are happening through everyone's comics. So what ends up happening is she kind of goes, when she starts realizing that, like, in this particular comic, we're going to see, for instance, one of the characters from Punky is being organ farmed, but endlessly using this particular new genetic tech. The character is older. They're like almost in their 80s because Punky is retro era, Trapdoor's modern era. So we're seeing one of the characters, I'm not going to tell you which one, but basically that character is being organ farmed. Tara goes in to try and pull them out. But basically, again, she has the ability to create the perfected super soldier serum. But if she does that, it's a permanent shift. So she creates a metabolized version. Basically, when she does this metabolized version, it uses the body's natural antigenics to push it down and flush it out. So this creates a situation with antigens where she can't keep using the formula over and over again. She basically has to piss it out before her body will allow her to use it again. And so when she does use it, she's created an altered version that switches her into Trapdoor, which is that guy you're seeing on the cover, so that she cannot be identified. No one will know it's her. And so we get this like split between Ego, which is Tara, who is balanced, who thinks about their situation, who considers the variables, but also is kind of driven and she's a little insufferable. She's a bit like, I'm a scientist, I got this. And we see her flaw in the first page. She just tries to jump down an elevator shaft, and the guy in the chair in her ear is basically saying, like, use the serum, you're going to break your neck. And she's like, I got this, physics is my bitch. And then she jumps out, can't hold herself up, misses the cable, hits the freaking top of the elevator after plummeting a fair bit. And it's just, the punchline there is physics is a bitch. And basically, Trapdoor is, however, the id. So Trapdoor is impulsive. Trapdoor is dangerous. Trapdoor, if Tara turns around and says, if Tara thinks this person's bad, we've got to figure it out what to do about it. Trapdoor goes, that person's bad, kill them. If Tara goes, these people are good, we need to think about helping them, Trapdoor will protect them against the bullets. Trapdoor will protect them and keep them alive in the moment, but will not check on them to see if they're okay. He just sort of walks away, leaving them to get themselves out of the situation. And so what we create is a situation where someone can mess with Tara's perception or psyche, and it can actually pull the strings on Trapdoor. So they become more of a Terminator-like machine that can be programmed by social intent. And then the super ego, for those psychology geeks out there like me, is the guy in the chair. So the guy in the chair is basically Kira, who is sort of constantly saying the social overmind, trying to kind of rein Trapdoor in and trying to keep them on target, so to speak, via a sort of earpiece. And so, yeah, so we kind of have this monster situation. It's very hyper-gore. It's a lot of body horror. Like, the mutation between one to the other is not this beautiful fairy transformation. It is a shift between, like, it's very Frankenstein's monster mutation pop kind of horror. And so, yeah, I think I'm actually more worried about that one. Right. Whereas the other ones are more sexy comics involved with, really fun action and fantasy. Trapdoor has a lot more body horror, and there is some skin moments, but honestly, like, I think we're really going to have to think about how we do that. And so the framework of, like, selling it is going to be leaning a lot more into leaning a lot more into describing the psychology, describing the narrative. And I think for anyone who's sort of panicking at the moment, that's what I'm sort of reading between the lines, is we need to sort of lean more into, rather than trying to hook people in with, like, hey, this is a sexy comic, it's like, okay, what's the story behind the sexy comic? You need to front end that.
But the good thing is you're already there, because, you have a great story and it's a sexy comic.
Yeah, I was lucky with that. But I mean, I say luck as a tongue in cheek, but it's like, yeah, I think honestly, if Punky was more of a a bit more of a cheesecake kind of skin comic and not a fun concept, I firstly don't think it would have resonated as much with everybody. But I also don't think I would be floating still. I think I would have been nuked very quickly.
Oh, definitely.
And like, the outfit alone for Punky makes perfect sense for, it is a kickboxer instructor. Right. Like, this is what they are. The outfit is necessary, not gratuitous it is gratuitous when she turns around. You realize that, it's definitely, like, she makes fun of it herself. Like, she's like, what a day to have a wedgie. Like, this is terrible.
But it's funny because you say that, and it's pretty much how things were in the 80s.
Yeah. I mean, it was... All I can say is jeans were so uncomfortable back then. Like, oh my god, man, the amount of, like, chafe I would get inside my legs just from wearing a good pair of jeans. But, like,
yeah,
they were rough.
Definitely. The 80s was an interesting time, and dude, just the fact that half the workout shows had the little kids watching the workout shows, and it wasn't to work out.
Yeah, no, that was pretty much every morning. You'd wake up and you're like, okay, here's the kickbox class going off, and everyone's doing their aerobics, and you just, I think that's where a lot of us discovered ourselves as kids growing up, was just like, I have feelings now. And it's like, even before you, like, get to an age where, like, you kind of know what to do with it, you're just sort of sitting there like, all right, I'm here for this. This is happening, and, like, I'm just going to sit here and, like, I'm not disappointed that my cartoons haven't started yet, but, like, and then, like,
because it was always right. You'd wake up early, and not even to watch that, you were just waking up early to watch your cartoons, and that was playing.
Yeah, every time. And so I sort of found for myself, like, I would wake up super early, I would get ready really quickly, and then sit down with my bowl of cereal and watch aerobics before watching cartoons. And then usually during the cartoon ad breaks is when I'd, like, bolt off and get dressed as quickly as possible. And I think, like, it's funny, actually. Like, I think back to it, I'm like, man, how did I, as an ADHD kid, get ready for school so much easier than, like, my kids are? And then I'm like, well, my kids don't have, like, adverts. Like, they don't have, like, breaks between things. Like, there isn't sort of a moment of, like, there's no disinterest. Like, I mean, like, and, like, we've even had a point where it's
shows
like,
just play straight. Our shows had commercials where you could run around and do things, and you would time yourself to get back in time.
Yep. Yeah, you speed run that stuff, and I also think like you just didn't have the interest. I think was very different with like certain shows. So you'd be like, okay, I like this show. I don't like that show as much. I can get ready. I can go get my shoes on.
Show. Yeah.
You know,
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. Paul, I know you know what we're talking about as well. But why don't you tell the people all the good stuff that you've been planning as I show it off over here?
Yeah, so we have a Kickstarter up that is in launching soon phase right now. So we're trying to garner supporters to get that 100 follower mark, which is great. We're up to 55 already, and the launch soon's only been up for less than a month, so I'm pretty happy about that. I'm telling a lot of people about the program and in terms of what it's doing. Because of the animation sequences I needed to do for the video game for episode 2, required me to create animations. So I said, why don't I just create a comic book from the animation? So that's how this came about. So we'll be offering a physical comic right now. We have a preview edition that is going to be available for sale at the Garden State Comic Fest coming up. And we're going to be hosting, I originally had 2, but now we're up to Angelo, Will, Chris.
You just keep adding them.
I got like 5 variant covers now.
Nice.
So it's
adding them, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's like, I keep running into people, and then we were at CradleCon on Saturday, and Keith Williams had done a piece of artwork for me for Nico Time, and it was a black and white ink drawing. And I'm looking at this thing. I said, this could be a variant cover. So I asked him, I said, can you make this a variant cover? He said, definitely. So signed up for a variant. There you go. Anyway, so we got Keith Williams as an artist. We've got Will Torres as an artist. We've got Angel, son of Saint Lopez, as an artist. We've got Angel Concepcion III as an artist. And we've got Chris Matt as an artist. So these guys are just really excellent in caliber and their technique and what they produce. So I'm very excited to see what comes out of this. I've seen a few of the completed covers so far, and they look awesome. So once I get all of them ready, I'll be posting those on the Kickstarter site as well, just to whet people's appetite and hopefully sign on board for this, because this is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. I know it's going to be a lot of fun. I keep looking at this.
Yeah, I just posted some new content today. If you scroll down, Ralph.
Yep, no problem. Here we go. Time and
it's just a slab. There you go. So get ready for Pulse Pony action and adventure. So we got a Discord channel set up. We'll be monitoring that and taking and trying to build the community there as well. All our social media, but to give you a little taste in terms of the artwork, we've got a few panels listed there. And I didn't want to reveal too much, that's why I made them small. But you can see it's full color. They're all painted. So I'm really trying to make this high quality product when it's all said and done. We'll be offering a softcover edition as well as a hardcover edition. The hardcover will feature everyone, if not most of the commissions that I've gotten over the past year and a half from artists, and they'll be including their bio along with links to their social media sites, so you can see who interpreted the characters and see how they look. So I'm kind of excited about that too. So that'll be fun. Actually going to put in some extra puzzles into the hardcover edition. The softcover edition basically has 2 puzzles. One's a jumble, and then the other is a crossword puzzle. Of course, the jumble has 4 different or 5 different levels, easy to hard. So it's all about learning history and making it a challenge, and hopefully have some fun while you're doing it. I consider it kind of like the old highlights magazines when I went to the doctor's office as a kid. You read the comic, but then you start doing the puzzles in the back, kind of fun. So,
dude, I love those things.
Yeah. Every time I hear about this one, I love this. I love this particular campaign. I think it's going to be awesome.
I apologize, AZ, man. I thought I backed your campaign earlier, but I realized I'm looking at my page like, what the F? I didn't do it yet.
Hey, man, it might not be you, Paul, because I had an issue because of I think it's my card. It doesn't like this cover.
I don't know. I mean, I put it up. I thought I backed it last time, but I'm just.
That's all good. I mean, if anyone is going to back it, I'd probably say, hey, wait maybe 10 hours. There'll be a final 48-hour add-on popping up as well.
You're just a tease.
Well, you're my inspiration, AZ. I'm going to start like posting all this, extra content.
Yep.
Well, dude, like, I mean, I've been thinking about it a lot in regards to that, because like the big issue I've sort of noticed is that the algorithm works off momentum, and momentum usually dies off in the middle of campaigns. So for myself, I've been sort of sitting in the background a lot, thinking about what specific packs can I bring in that are week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4 only available add-ons. And so the idea is next time I'll be looking at it from a way that, people can stay a bit more engaged. The community can kind of have a reason to kind of come across to community channels and actually be involved, so they can, you can keep them in the loop, but also, keeping them engaged in a way that it's like, oh, like they might sort of look at week 2 and be like, there's nothing there that interests me. It's like, that's okay. But also maybe week 3 is loaded with stuff that they want. And it's like, cool. But like, if they bought all of that stuff that they want in week 1, it's fantastic for me financially, but algorithmically, it's not as beneficial as if they split it up and potentially even got a little less between like week 1 and week 3. Whereas, having people come in and buy their stuff in those chunks really does help to pump it up in the particular site's algorithm. So, kind of learnt that from this particular timeout. So, yeah, I mean, I've spoken to a few people and they're just like, you're insane. That's going to be so much juggling. There's so much triple handling, and, you're going to be just run off your feet. And I'm like, yeah, but that's the game I want to play at the end. Like, I want to be run off my feet. Like, I want to get to the end and see how much people want to get this stuff. And it's a good problem to have. I think it's a healthy problem, in my opinion, is to have, to be drowning in the problems of success. God, I'm starting to sound preachy now, but it's, I think like, if my biggest problem is I've got to figure out how many stickers to buy, then that's a good problem.
I agree.
And yeah, I mean, I think, at the end of it, if we can have a lot of people sort of getting things they want, and it pushes it up through the algorithm a lot more.
I feel like I appreciate what Paul's doing, because I can swear that's what he's doing. Every time I turn around, he's like, look, Ralph, there's a new thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think yeah, I mean, man, like, I think, yeah, absolutely jump in there and grab as many things. So it really has made a difference on, like I can say on my campaign, it's made a big difference. Like, there's people who have had stuff like loaded up at the start, and I've seen them do pretty well, but then I look at it and go, wow, like, you're actually way more established than I am. I would have thought that they would be grabbing a lot more momentum, but I think at the end of it, like, it's not that they did anything wrong. It's just that I think, they kind of everything, the full load was shot right at the start, kind of thing. Like, everything was just, the barrel was empty right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of, it was just a matter of whether or not it could flow the momentum on. And I think, like, the normal expectation is that it drops off. And I still think that will happen even with what I'm about to do. But I do think that potentially, being able to entice people across into like those other weeks.
Well, yeah, the experience that I had after my first one, and, you have definitely your pre-launch stage, and you got to like guerrilla market that. And then, but you got to guerrilla market during the whole campaign, and because you got to figure what, maybe if you're lucky, 5% will convert, and so it's, I mean, you got 95% people to tap, and like you've been doing, which I found very intuitive as well as ingenious, was offering those, expanded tiers as you went, and just like, keep offering more free stuff. I mean, it sounds like it's mostly digital, which is fine. I think people appreciate the content, and it doesn't really cost you a whole lot. It's more your time and effort as opposed to like have to print stuff. But, I think that's where people see an added bonus of doing
definitely
things, and part of the things I was looking at was after the Kickstarter campaign is over, keeping people engaged with like offerings like every other month, just send them free stuff in their inbox. And that way I start to hopefully build up a community of followers based on that. Yeah. So,
yeah. Like, that's one of the things that I sort of like, even with the early bird special, the idea was like having someone come along in that first 48 hours if they join in and get that early bird special. The idea was that they would be then added into the Discord under a role that has, early bird backer, or basically or day one. So basically, day one backer is sort of a thing that's given. And the idea is that you can set up a room that is just for your day one backers. And basically you can have things like digital stickers, or here's a look into some concept stuff in the background of what's to come. Here's a sneak peek that no one else is getting access to. And you can put a little, if you want to tease the FOMO a little bit, you can put an update just sort of in your newsfeed saying hey, day one backers, please check your day one room, more stuff turning up. And, basically giving them access to things that, are meaningful to them, as that first particular group. And then hopefully, as it grows more and more, you get more people going oh, hey, next time when I want to see what's going on, I want to also be a part of this stuff. I want to get that free stuff, those free digital stickers, those free splash art pieces, design concept stuff, insight into what's happening. And, so you're not really just flooding everybody with everything all the time so much as these particular people are going to, because they hit on day one when you most need it.
Definitely.
You're constantly rewarding them. And then hopefully, we'll see how it goes, but hopefully the payoff is that they kind of go, hey, next time when there is a need for it, and your studio does need a call out for a day one surge for the algorithm, your people are kind of there. They know, they're thankful for it. And then the next group of people as well, who are well, actually, we would like to get in on that too. They know there's a big difference between joining on day one and joining on day 4.
Yeah, now they have an incentive.
Well,
Yummy here says digital stuff is great for people who are trying to save money, don't have a lot of space, and or want to dabble into something to decide if they really want to collect it or not.
Well, it's talking this over with you, AZ, is just it's fascinating, because I'm thinking almost like affiliate marketing. You have this room of early bird backers, right? But then continue the momentum. Maybe you offer incentives if they start flagging referrals for other backers. It's if that they tag in 3 or 4 other backers, and you can offer other incentives for them doing that. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely, yeah. There's some really good stuff on that line where I'm still trying to figure out how to mechanically do it in an easy flow on scale.
Yeah.
So one of the ones that I've had people mention to me a few times was having people buy in, they get the $1 buy-in sort of thing, in the pre-launch. So
right, the launch people type thing, yeah.
Yeah, and if anyone's got any ideas on how to mechanically make that happen smoothly, absolutely reach out, because there's I love being the guy that just gives people more and more free stuff. Or I have heard that with Kickstarter there is a way that you can set it up in, I think it's BackerKit. And then basically I think in BackerKit you can set up the $1 structure. And
because it's almost like having a whole second campaign once it goes into BackerKit.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out, because I had shown Ralph. Let me just show him really quick. Let me see him pull him up fast. Give me one sec. Because I was going to do a VIP incentive, right, for this.
Yeah, we were just talking. He was just talking about it, which is funny from listening to you talk, AZ.
Yeah, it's basically it's just trying to figure out, I think coming up with great incentives for people, and because I'm an artist myself, that's not really something that I struggle with too much, because I don't really need to hire someone else to do that part. So that's where so being the studio head of this particular studio and having that background is definitely an advantage, but I also still need to live in the world of reality with everybody else, where if this does get to scale, I need to make sure that I'm not sort of running around like a chicken with the head cut off, trying to balance everything when, it's it's almost like failing is less intimidating than really, really succeeding.
Yeah.
Because, failing, it's okay, cool, I can take a breath and start again. Whereas with really succeeding, it's well, I could really let people down now if I don't actually get my eyes on the.
That sounds like a horror movie. Just saying it.
Yeah, so it's definitely one of those ones where I'm okay, cool. I need to. That's where my obsession comes in with it, where I'm I have to make sure that this will go off without a hitch. like I don't want people sort of sitting in the background going like, oh man, like I took a chance on this guy and he just screwed me over. And it's like, well, that's my worst nightmare in the situation. So I really look at it and go, okay, like the $1 buy-ins, I love the idea of it.
Right.
At the same time, I just need, like, because there is a really good chance, at least with my comics, that I'm going to have to pivot between like Kickstarter and potentially other sites. And that's where it kind of gets tricky. Like Kickstarter's got it integrated.
Even if we weren't looking in that direction, you know, Kickstarter's turning into something else at the moment. Yeah. So you're probably going to have to find some other place to go where it's easier to do it than Kickstarter.
That's the problem.
I think what Kickstarter has right now is its dominance with its algorithm.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, and then what happens, a lot of people do Kickstarter first, then go to BackerKit. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't realize you use BackerKit to use the $1 campaign. That's news to me, because if I can share what I got, I just want to show you, because I want to give a little taste.
Go for it.
In terms of what we got. So I got VIP dossier cards that I'm offering, because we have these dossiers in the book itself for all the characters, but I'm making this specifically for VIP people that buy in. So when I launch this whole email campaign in mid-June, this will be the offering. So this will be a Nick card and then an Amelia card. And then I'll be offering the digital edition of the preview edition to go along with it. Well, so instead of $1, I'll probably make it $3. So you get 2 physical cards and a digital comic to go along with it to really spice it up. So,
yeah, it's one of the funny things I found on Kickstarter as well, because one of the ones I wanted to do with add-ons was I wanted to have add-ons that I could just give to people for free. So it was like, okay, you know, if people basically, you know, like they could just be like, okay, I want to buy this comic, and then put a, you know, early bird backer add-on onto it. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, like you should be able to do that for free in the first 48 hours. But Kickstarter also has this minimum of like $1. It won't let you do any less than $1, or at least from what I've found so far with the add-ons. And that one did kind of that did kind of grind my gears a little bit, because I was like, I don't want to charge somebody for this particular digital thing. I want to have it as an exclusive support thing. They've already done the good thing for me.
Oh, definitely.
They've already turned up on the time I needed them to turn up. Like, that's enough. I don't need another $1. So, I mean, you know, I know people will be like, it's $1 and everyone kind of expects it. But I'm like, yeah, but it just kind of annoys me. You
don't want to be in that situation. I get what you're saying. You don't want to be in that situation where you know, you become that guy like, oh, we gave him the $1. We knew it was going to be a loss. Me saying my 2 cents as a person who supports backer kids, etc., is communication. As long as you're talking to us, we're willing to wait a long time while you figure things out.
Yeah, I've found that as well. Like that's a really good point. Is like I look at a lot of Kickstarter campaigns and the posts and the comments,
right?
And a lot of them, like, maybe they're just doing really, really efficient work, but they've got like they'll do 4 updates over the campaign or something like that. It's like the average is an update a week.
Yeah.
I'm up to something like 32.
People love that. They want to know what's going on.
I try to at least every couple of days touch base, because like things are changing, like things are constantly shifting.
Definitely, and especially in this world. I'm gonna cut you both off because I'm being hailed on this side, so I'm gonna have to cut this short, even though I don't want to. But guys, all the links are in the comment section.
Just when it was getting interesting, you know, man.
Oh, you know that's how it is. You know, usually I don't get cut off, but you know, as you guys have been able to tell, I've been hailed like 3 or 4 times while we've been doing this conversation.
That's so good. I'll have to drag Paul over to the studio, the Discord studio.
Talking in there.
Just continue.
I'm going to join your Discord channel, so I'll be all set with that.
Oh yeah, man, when you jump on there, just let me know, and I'll jump in yours as well.
Here we go, folks. With that, I will end this show. It was a fantastic, but of course, AZ will be back on the show again, and talking about all the beautiful stuff that he's doing. Bob says he apologizes, but his computer died. He was using his laptop and the battery uncharged.
That's okay. I think it was just his turn. Mine was right at the beginning, and then his one's in the middle, and now you've got to jump off now. So like,
oh, definitely. It's just the
Paul's
nature of the beast, folks. All right, I will end it here and say, have a great night, people, and keep getting geeky, keep having fun, do your thing.
I really appreciate the insights on the birds. Thanks again, AZ. That was awesome.
Anytime.
You should start that new Kickstarter, Birds of Australia. It'd be great.
Oh man, I think that would get censored immediately. The brutality and violence.
They sound really violent. All right, folks, we'll leave you there with the birds.
See you guys later.
Don't let them get you.
Take care.